Hey, what's going on, people? This is PremRock. You're watching the Bee Shine. I heard 36 Chambers. Well, initially I heard Eazy-E. Eazy Does It, and I was like, this is the craziest shit that I've ever heard in my life. And I was like 5 or 6 years old. And in my surroundings, we didn't have a lot of hip-hop, so I was in the suburbs. And I kind of had to look and dig for like different, people or outlets, so to speak, So you found it through magazines because there's no internet. And then 36 Chambers hit, and then I was like, this is the best. But I never thought I could do it because I'm like, these guys are too good. But I was only 8 or 9, so, as time progressed, I realized that if you pay attention to the craft and you really take the culture seriously and pay all homage to the art form and treat it like an art, you can then contribute. That took me a lot longer, so I was like 15, 16. I started going to shows in Philadelphia, and I caught like the Def Jokes kind of rising, like LP and A$AP Rock and Mr. Lif, and then I saw shows like Public Enemy, Dilated Peoples, Jurassic 5, all those guys. And I just saw like incredible attention to detail with live sets, whether it was like unison or just people just being able to do entire sets like they sounded on the record or sometimes even better. And I realized that performing was a whole other craft on top of recording. So then I kind of figured out, you have to be good at both. And if you're not, you're going to fall behind. You're going to lose fans when they see you and they pay to see you and you're not so good at performing. Well, they're probably not going to buy your record. And if you don't sound that good on record, but you're a good performer, they might buy your record, but they're not going to support you for good. You got to be equally attentive to both. And that's watching all those guys perform live. That's when I realized you have to do both like that. So yeah, just living and breathing music, like going to a lot of shows, listening to a lot of music, reading a lot of books that had nothing to do with rap, listening to a lot of albums that had nothing to do with rap. From like jazz to like funk to rock. They kind of open up chambers of your musical like recognition that you can see where things came from. And when you start finding samples on your own that had been used by the greats like Premier, Dilla, RZA, and all them guys, it was like it was like a jewel. When you found it, just digging on your own through be it your my father's collection or someone else's father's collection or all that. That was a big part of that. So it was interesting because my father was a guitar player and a singer. And he took, music and kind of gave it up when he had my sister, who was a year older than I am. And then, he knew he had a family support, so he couldn't really do it. So initially, he kind of, he encouraged it, but he kind of was like, think about it as it's not an easy lane, And then when he realized it wasn't a fad, it wasn't a phase, he was like, actually pretty supportive. And he's like, you know what? Well, then start taking it more seriously, do this and that. So he's, and now he's got like album reviews of mine on his fridge. So it's like great to see the full circle of things. From doing shows with, really super established artists, to like being able to put together tours in Europe on my own without anybody's help and being able to travel the world, a lot of times. It never ceases to amaze me. I did a show in Amsterdam recently where I was outside with someone from Japan, Ukraine, Russia, Norway, and Portugal, all different people, all who were talking to me and just wanted to know about my music because they just saw me. And they're like, we never saw anyone do what you just did specifically. We heard different things. Maybe they only heard trap music, so they kind of never saw what I did. So that will always be an incredible gift to me to be able to do that sort of thing. And never loses its luster. Never. I want to leave behind a catalog that anyone can go back to way, way beyond when I'm dead. I want that to be my testament. I love performing live, I love touring, but at the end of the day, the only thing that's going to outlast me is my records, so I'm going to focus on my records, and I want like 20, why not? I want like 20, 25 albums of quality music, so that's my goal. So.